at keepkccool.com. That's keepkccool.com today.
Join us for steak night at Rye Restaurants. Every Sunday at Rye Plaza and Monday at Rye Leawood, they feature a 3-course menu with choice of salad, steak or chop, side, and a slice of the award-winning pie. Take a night off from cooking and enjoy some of Rye's most delicious offerings for just $50 per person. Rye Restaurants. Local, family-owned, chef-inspired Midwestern comfort food. RyeKC.com.
1 minute.
Family Leisure's inventory liquidation sale is happening now. Save hundreds, even thousands on pools and spas at liquidation prices at Family Leisure. All the summer stuff has to go. Backyard adventure play sets, gorilla basketball systems, trampolines, patio, deck furniture, and more. The season's best prices guaranteed. Mention 810 and save more at Family Leisure's inventory liquidation sale. Family Leisure is your one-stop shop for family fun. K10 and Ridgeview in Olathe.
913-888-7727.
You're listening to the most powerful sports station in the country. Sports Radio 810, WHB Kansas City, the power of sports.
For 11 years, Breaking the Norm has presented the best and most uplifting stories in sports, entertainment, and business, and we wouldn't be here without our amazing partners and you, our faithful listeners. Your stories of life change, loving others, and inspiration keep us dedicated to making a difference in the world, one story at a time.
That phone number's cut off a little bit on that banner.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the number one motorsports show for 2 decades, Track Talk. Here are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning. I'm Kirk Elliott along with Scott Traylor down in Florida. We're brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Eye Midwest Lightning Sprints. And we are happy to have you along here this morning as we get set for a big month of February, but not a whole lot going on yet this weekend. Last night, most of the events were called off last night due to rain, although they did race modifieds over at East Bay Raceway. Scott, how's everything going down there? You got down there and you ran into some pretty rough weather there at on the east side of the state of Florida.
Well, Kirk, it has been a little bit rough down here the last couple days. A lot of rain. Yeah, it's just not been a pleasant deal down here at Daytona Beach. And as you know, that a lot of races have been canceled. And unfortunately for me, that means I haven't been to a race since I've been down here.
It may be, Monday before you get to one? Volusia is supposed to open back up.
It might be Monday.
Yeah. They got modifieds over there on Monday night. I suppose you could still, you could drive a couple of hours over to East Bay Raceway Park and see some modified action over there. I guess they got that show in last night. Looked a little bit wet down in the infield. Looked like they had gotten some rain, but they got it in last night. I thought the track was really good. So they were able to get that in. But
I'm here for the sprint cars, Kurt.
There you go. Last night, you thought about stopping in Georgia and seeing the All-Stars at Sonoya, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, they rained that out. Yeah. They rained out the whole weekend, didn't they, Kurt?
They did. Called it off. They said precipitation and poor forecast forces Sonoya Raceway cancellation. So everything will kick off on Tuesday night down there at Volusia Speedway Park. 2 nights of All-Star action, followed by 3 nights for the opening weekend for the World of Outlaws.
Yeah. Well, it's been a kind of a bummer, at the All-Star Circuit of Champions. They're going to be starting off next weekend at Volusia on the 8th, and they'll be running there for a couple days. And then they're going to run over to East Bay on the 13th and the 14th. Then they're going to be going to Attica Raceway Park in Attica, Ohio on the 7th and 8th of April. So a lot going on with the All-Star Circuit of Champions, Tony Stewart Series.
All-Star's going to be off for about 2 months, it looks like, after they get through Florida. Then they'll have quite a bit of time before they kick it off again.
Kirk, I think the All-Star Circuit of Champions is making a big push to be recognized as one of the premier divisions in 410 sprint car racing around the country. Don't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the competition level, the All-Stars, is as good as any sprint car league in America. They're more of a regional type operation. I know they got as far west as I-70 last year. You remember they had that big high-pan race that Anthony Macri won, and they raced at Knoxville. This is about as far west as they get. So mostly it's Ohio, and they're out in Pennsylvania a couple of times. So it's pretty much a regional series, but it feels like a national touring series.
Yeah, no doubt. And then the World of Outlaws, they're going to be over here at Barberville, Florida, and they're going to be running on the 9th, 10th, 11th. And then they're going to pick up the late models on the 16th, 17th, 18th. So that's going to be some good racing over there as well.
Yeah, it kicks up hot and heavy here beginning on Monday down there. 2 full weeks of action at Volusia Speedway Park. East Bay will be continuing to go through the following weekend where they have the King of the 360 sprint cars on the 16th, 17th, and 18th of February. So you can go to 2 or 3 different tracks down there. If you like pavement, you can go to New Smyrna Beach. That opens up the World Series of Asphalt Racing next Friday night. They go for about 10 days in a row. So you got your choice of just whatever you want to watch beginning on Monday.
You know me, Kirk. I like a little bit of pavement racing, so I might make it down to New Smyrna and watch some racing down there as well.
I was going to actually say Sunday at East Bay is when the Lucas Oil Late Model Series opens up their 6-night run. They were supposed to race this weekend. I think tonight is still on at Alltech Raceway. Last night got rained out at Lake City, but they'll. I think tonight is still on for the Lucas Oil Late Model Series up at Lake City at Alltech Raceway. That big old half-mile racetrack.
Yeah, that's a little bit of ways away from Daytona Beach.
So then NASCAR, they're out on the West Coast for the All-Star race at the L.A. Coliseum. Practice today, the race tomorrow night. And so NASCAR not in town yet. In years past, they were. This would be the first weekend coming up for the NASCAR. You remember they spent, 10 whole days down there. They don't do that anymore. So got the All-Star race out in California. So NASCAR doesn't really kick in till the week of the Daytona 500. It's more condensed NASCAR down at Daytona these days.
Kirk, they were showing the Clash from out there at the Coliseum here just a little bit ago on television. I don't know if you got to see that or not.
From last year?
Yeah, from last year.
Joey Logano won that race a year ago. I saw some of the coverage yesterday. Fox had their race hub and had a couple other shows. Saw Clint and Tony Stewart. They're going to be the analysts on the Fox broadcast for the Clash and also the Daytona 500. They were talking about everything out at the L.A. Coliseum, and it's hard to predict just exactly what's going to happen. I think everybody knows those race cars now, the new next-gen car, which was brand new a year ago when they debuted it at the L.A. Coliseum, so it's going to be interesting to see. They had a home run with this event last year, didn't they, Scott? I mean, there was the way they set up the venue, the crowd that showed up. They had a big-time home run with this thing. Can they duplicate it again?
We'll have to see. To be honest with you, Kirk, I'm not sure that they can duplicate what they did last year, to be honest with you. What do you think?
Last night they had Clint Boyer, Michael Waltrip, Ross Chastain, and a couple other people on Monday.
Jamie McMurray was on there. Yeah.
But I'm talking about they were on Friday Night SmackDown WWE last night.
Really?
With a pre-taped segment with them getting involved with some wrestlers on the LA Coliseum front stretch. And if you guys want to see it, I'm sure you can pull it up on social media. Clint Boyer, I'll just say this, he could stick to racing and in the booth because he's not much of an actor. He has a hard time.
Why you say that, Todd?
Because he didn't deliver his lines with I didn't believe it. Let's just say that it's hard to jump into the pro wrestling world as a, I don't know. It's not the easiest thing to do and keep a straight face. Let's just say that. Boyer
he couldn't keep a straight
he
face.
He had a grin on his face while he was trying to pretend like he was breaking up a fight, and they had a segment where they put two drivers in cars and they did a lap around the racetrack, and they had Michael Waltrip, and they called him the old man, and Ross Chastain. So Ross Chastain was like the bad guy, and he was with the bad guy's race car, and Michael Waltrip was with the good guy's car, and they did a lap around, and then they got out and got into a little pushing and shoving thing, and Clint Boyer, it was, I don't know, it was pretty funny, but they are doing a lot of promotion. Let me say that. That's a heavily watched TV show on Friday night on WWE, and so they were pushing it hard last night. They got the promotion wheels in motion last night.
They did the laps around the Coliseum track?
Yeah, and I believe, so what I think it was, how the drivers will do a ride along with the driver, so you can get in the car and you have so these wrestlers drove around the track with Michael Waltrip and Ross Chastain as co-pilots, but they edited it to make it look like they were racing. You know what I'm saying? They went back and they sped the video up, and they did a up version, and they computerized it to make it look like they were banging on the track, but there was actually, I think they were just doing laps around the track, but they made a production. Let me tell you, I bet they spent a cool $1 million on the production of that last night. They had a lot going on. So NASCAR's, they're doing the cross promotion for sure.
But Clint needs to stick to racing.
Clint, he needs to maybe watch a few more wrestling promo. Maybe he hasn't watched some promos in a while, but it was pretty funny. He tried to jump in between a couple guys and said, "Hey guys, let's break this up and get in the cars." And it was delivered pretty much just like I delivered it. So
I don't know if you ever watched when Clint Boyer, when he ran second in my ARCA car, the first time he ever ran second, he could barely talk.
Yeah, he wasn't that good, was he then?
Yeah, he's come along. He's come a long way since his days.
Well, he hangs around. What's his name? The country singer,
Blake Shelton.
Yeah, those guys.
They're good buddies, right?
They hang at his ranch out there and burn some stuff down. I don't know if you've seen a few videos lately. They've been using their flamethrowers out there. So
they have been.
Yeah,
flamethrowers.
Johnny Dare gifted Clint Boyer a couple flamethrowers. He gave one to Clint when they became friends. Clint owns one of Johnny Dare's old cars. It was one of his old that old Mercury. And so when Clint's last baby was born, Johnny sent him another flamethrower for the baby. So I think they have two flamethrowers out there at the farm. So what could go wrong with a bunch of drinkers and a flamethrower, right?
Right. What could go wrong there?
What could go wrong?
They could burn a bunch of stuff up.
I'm telling you.
Well, it was good to see Clint back on the air after that terrible incident last June, and it was great to see him back going again. Fox picking up the coverage of everything here at the beginning of the year. So I thought Clint did a really good job in his first year as a full-time analyst over there.
I think Clint does a great job on the air.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. He does a really good job on the broadcast part of it. I was just kind of ribbing him a little bit being a pro wrestler part of it.
Well, to be honest with you, that's his nature.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, he's entertainment type of guy. I think he's going to do a lot better this year. Once you get a full year under your belt and you're doing things like, a few years under your belt, and he's stepped out from underneath, now that Jeff Gordon's not there, it's not like, when he was in the booth, it kind of felt funny to me. I don't know, like things were being contrived a little bit. But now with Jeff not in the booth, it seems a little bit different. I don't know. I like it.
Are they going to rotate analysts again like they did last year? I know Stewart's going to be there for the first two events this year. Are they going to do what they did last year? I would think Kurt Busch would move in there and be a part of that.
Well, I always assumed Busch was going in too, didn't you, Scott? Me and Scott had talked about that before. Busch is really good.
Well, I think he'd be a natural at doing it.
Yeah, I think he does a good job. And of course,
with his edgy opinions, I think that Kirk Busch would be a great guy to be in the booth, and he could talk about what's going on out there, and maybe talk about what some of the drivers are thinking about, because to be honest with you, Kirk Busch is not going to mince words. I don't think he's going to anyway.
I mean, they've had him in the booth along with Kevin Harvick for some of the Xfinity races over the last few years, and I thought both those guys did a really good job, and I would expect Kevin Harvick to step in there maybe after he gets, that's his last full season, so Harvick would be a natural at that.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Kevin Harvick and Kurt Busch will probably be your future on TV. I mean, I can see a scenario with those two, but as well with some of these drivers haven't been in the car in a while. The ones that we have on TV right now, getting Kurt Busch in there, that gives you somebody who's just stepped out of this car, kind of knows what's going on, some of the new configurations of everything. So, like I said, I think it'd be a great thing.
Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing what Kurt Busch does and how much time he's going to spend in the booth this year, since he's not full-time anymore in the Cup Series. We got Logan Seavey going on. Go ahead, Scott.
You know who I think is really good in the booth, and it's one of our own, and to be honest with you, I think that Clinton Boyles is just about as good as anybody in the booth when it comes to open wheel racing. What do you guys think?
Oh, he's fabulous. I mean, we brought him into the booth when we were doing the Chili Bowl down there, and his coverage on the Tulsa Shootout especially. I know he stepped in there a few nights when he could at the Chili Bowl this year and the last couple of years for Flo, and I think he's just fantastic. I mean, Clinton Boyles talks about things that you just never think about. Right.
I think that somebody needs to pick up Clinton Boyles. I know he's a crew chief for Hunter, but I just think his talent is in the booth.
No doubt about it. But I think he wants to drive a race car here for a little while, does he?
No, I think he's going to be a crew chief this year.
Is he?
Yeah.
So he'll be involved with that. But, yeah, he's a natural. Clinton Boyles is a natural in the booth, so I hope that he has a big-time future doing this kind of stuff down the road because he's among the best.
You know who else is really good? Logan Seavey is really good, too.
Right.
Yeah.
And speaking of Logan, we're going to play some of the interview we did with Logan, the reigning Chili Bowl champion, here in just a little bit. An interview that we did on Mostly Motorsports this past Monday. We'll play a portion of that coming up here in just a little bit. Logan Seavey is very well-spoken, very talented race car driver. Drove the Kevin Swindell car to the Chili Bowl win here a couple of weeks ago, and you'll hear his thoughts on all of that here coming up here in just a few minutes.
I don't think that was a big surprise. Do you think it was, Kurt?
A little bit. I thought he'd be a guy that could run up in the, top 10 at the Chili Bowl. Now, to predict before the event that he would go out and win that race, I'm not sure I was ready to take that kind of prediction. But you saw what he did during the preliminary night, and you're thinking, yeah, he's got a really good shot now. But he came into the Chili Bowl as not one of my favorites, but after he ran his prelim night, you had to put him right up there as one of the favorites.
Well, he started on the pole, and that's a huge advantage right there.
Absolutely.
To be honest with you.
And it was a huge advantage, no question about that. So, and he drove a perfect race. He didn't make any mistakes. He kept it on the bottom of the racetrack.
He gave up the lead there just for a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think he'll say in this interview that wasn't such a bad thing that he did give up the lead because he could then see, it's a lot of times being second is while the race is going on is not a bad thing. You see where you got to go. And Cannon McIntosh only had the lead for, about a half a dozen laps before Seavey was able to get back around. Once he did, he just kept it at the bottom of the racetrack. And Tanner Thorson did all he could to try to make a run on him. He just couldn't do it.
Right, no doubt. Well, to be honest with you, I think that Logan Seavey winning the fifth Driller and he, by the way, he got to keep that driller and take it home with him. So that was always cool. Kevin's got 4 of them sitting on his shelf, and it's only right for the driver to get his and take it home with him.
Didn't he say that they gave out 2 of them? So Kevin was still able to get one.
I think that they give out a total of 4 of them altogether.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's got that hanging up on his mantle right now. Well deserved, no doubt about it. So it was great talking with Logan the other day. Hey, I was going to say, big guest on Monday, Danny Lasowski. The dude is going to be our guest on Mostly Motorsports coming up on Monday.
Yep, I talked to Danny yesterday. He's going to be our guest on at 12:20 on Monday on Mostly Motorsports. Again, it's all brought to you by Rod End Supply. We want to thank Bob Douglas for being a great supporter of Racing Boys over at Rod End Supply. We've got to thank him so much for coming on board after we lost Lucas Oil Products. And, it is great to have somebody like Bob Douglas come on. We're going to be featuring the Power Eye Midwest Lightning Sprints as well. So that is a great series. It's a great place to get your feet wet if you want to try to get into open wheel racing at a very inexpensive cost. And the Power Eye Midwest Lightning Sprints is a way to do it.
It was fun going down to the banquet last Saturday night down at the Pub 13 on the grounds of Central Missouri Speedway last Saturday night. Saw Susan and Earl down there. Big crowd on hand. The Chastity Younger being honored as the champion down there. Had a good time down there last Saturday night.
Kirk, how many people showed up down there?
I don't know how many. There were maybe 100 people in that room, the Pub 13 down there. Not all were there for the banquet, but it.
How was the food?
Oh, food was excellent. First rate.
Well, Earl, he's not gonna do it if he's not gonna. Earl Walls is one of those kind of guys. He only does it the right way, right?
Yeah, I mean that's a cool place down there. So you need to check that out. It's open, I think, most every day, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not exactly sure what the hours are, but definitely worth the trip down there to check it out and have some great food at the Pub 13 at CMS.
Right.
Hey,
that should be great.
Later on in the hour, later on in the show, this will be exclusively hour 2 on Racing Boys. We'll have Lee Spencer checking in with us. This first big weekend for NASCAR. She'll check in and let us know what the big storylines are as we head into the new season. But coming up next, we're going to play an interview that we did with Logan Seavey, the Chili Bowl champion. Portion of that coming up next as Track Talk continues here. We're brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Eye Midwest Lightning Sprint. Stay with us.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Looking for fine chocolates? Your Valentine deserves the finest chocolate. Winner of international gold medals for Valentine's Day collection for the past 4 years. Panache is proud to offer an assortment with chocolates from all 4. Chocolate at Panache is always handcrafted, fresh, and free of artificial preservatives. Don't miss out on this superior Valentine's Day collection. Call Kansas City's only Grandmaster Chocolatier, Panache Chocolatier at Park Place in Leawood, 816-931-3191.
Valentine's Day is rapidly approaching. Are you ready? Steve here with Connolly Plumbing Solutions, your neighborhood plumber, to save the day. What is more romantic than a new toilet? 2. This month we are offering buy one, get one half off for a new toilet. Yeah, I know it's goofy, but hey, it's still a deal, so take advantage. Call 913-768-7676 or visit ConnollyPlumbingSolutions.com.
Looking for fine chocolates? Your Valentine deserves the finest chocolate. winner of international gold medals for Valentine's Day collection for the past 4 years. Panache is proud to offer an assortment with chocolates from all four. Chocolate at Panache is always handcrafted, fresh, and free of artificial preservatives. Don't miss out on this superior Valentine's Day collection. Call Kansas City's only Grandmaster Chocolatier, Panache Chocolatier at Park Place in Leawood, 816-931-3191.
All right, listen up. The only app you need at your Super Bowl party is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. You know, the app that I use. Download FanDuel now. Use the promo code PETRO, P-E-T-R-O, that's right, my last name, so that you can bet Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet. That's right, you'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. So use that promo code PETRO when you sign up. FanDuel lets you bet on everything. Moneyline, point spreads, who will score a touchdown first. I love all the prop bets. They're all there. Whatever you want, you've got it. All on the top-rated sportsbook app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Best of all, you get paid your winnings instantly. That's right, instantly. So join FanDuel today. Use the promo code PETRO, P-E-T-R-O. Claim your no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. Up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if you sign up with the promo code PETRO. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
21 plus in President Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issues. Non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I'm attorney Mike DePasquale. I played linebacker. I won a state championship. I played Division I ball. I know a thing or two about winning. A winning attitude starts with confidence. My law firm is so confident in what we do that if we take your injury case and we don't win, you don't pay us a dime. So if you've been hurt, call me. My team wants to win for you. I've got this.
Mike's got this. All you need to know. 816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Kansas City is going to Phoenix. Do you need tickets to the big game or hotel travel packages? Go to bullseyeeventgroup.com. That's bullseyeeventgroup.com. The Players Tailgate, hosted by Bobby Flay, is the #1 rated event on game day. 60-plus active NFL players, celebrity chefs, with all you can eat and drink for 4 hours leading up to the game. And it's right across from the stadium. To make your game day great, get your tickets now for the Players Tailgate, hosted by Bobby Flay. For tickets, go to bullseyeeventgroup.com.
I love my collection of autographed jerseys, and there's only one place I trust to frame them perfectly. Art and Frame Warehouse at 92nd and Metcalf. Art and Frame has the largest selection of custom framing options, the best customer service, and the best prices in Kansas City. Plus, mention my name, and you'll save even more. Locally owned and operated for almost 20 years, Art and Frame Warehouse specializes in jerseys and sports memorabilia, and all their work comes with a lifetime guarantee. They even delivered and installed all of my jerseys. Visit framekc.com for more information. Art and Frame Warehouse, gallery quality at warehouse prices.
Monday, the program will be broadcasting live from the J. Rieger Distillery, an amazing distillery in the East Bottoms. The J. Rieger Distillery is the perfect place to watch the big game on Sunday and enjoy a Red Kingdom vodka cocktail and more. Book a tour today at jriegerco.com. Completely restored in 2019, not only is it one of Kansas City's truly special places to have a night out, it's also a fully functional distillery. Look for their award-winning Kansas City whiskey, Red Kingdom vodka, gin, and Cafe Amaro next time you're out. And don't watch the big game without Red Kingdom vodka.
Welcome back to Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. I'm Kirk Elliott along with Scott Traylor. This past week, Logan Seavey was on our Mostly Motorsports show and talked about his big win down at the Chili Bowl. He's going to be running a full USAC season in all three divisions, the sprints, midgets, and Silver Crown cars. And here is just a portion of that total conversation. You can hear all of it on our podcast section on Mostly Motorsports. But Logan Seavey talking about where he keeps the driller. Here is Logan Seavey from Mostly Motorsports earlier this week.
Is that driller at your house or is it at Kevin's house? Did he allow you to keep the driller?
So luckily with Chili Bowl, they give you two. So yeah, so luckily I got one, and then I got the one that we had on stage and all that. And then when you go, I believe when you go get your check and all that, they give the owners another driller. And then we have another, our team owner technically is Tim Bertrand, and then they sent him a driller as well, or they're working on getting him a driller. So yeah, there's kind of a partnership between Tim Bertrand and Kevin Swindell, our are both team owners of the team. So really we needed 3 drillers this year. But, yeah, luckily I got mine. Kevin has his, and I think they're getting one sent over to Bertrand.
You know, at the start of that race, on the first start of that race, Hank Davis got out there on you and kind of beat you on that start. But then they had that yellow come out, and then you made up for it on that second restart and got out to the lead. Talk about that on that first restart, on that first start, how Hank Davis got around you a little bit right there.
Yeah, obviously, you know, you want to kind of lead, but I wasn't super mad about being in second. Kind of just like when Cannon passed me, I was kind of fine with being in second and just kind of learning what I needed to do. But yeah, on that initial start, they kind of watered the track a bunch and soaked it really good. And I was obviously the first one to take off, and it was pretty wet still, and I kind of spun the tires a little bit. And unfortunately, the water is what caused, you know, Spencer Basin to get flipped over. So it's kind of a bad deal, you know, for him. Obviously, you come here all week you go to the Chili Bowl all week to run the race, and you get upside down because, you know, the track was still wet when you go green for the biggest race of the year. So that's pretty unfortunate for him. But yeah, luckily for me, I got another try at it, and then by then, you know, the track was gripped up again, and yeah, you know, obviously I took it easy into one the first lap because I didn't want to push into the side of Hank because I knew it was really wet right there. And second lap, I felt a lot better about the racetrack, and I was able to run pretty hard there for that first lap and get to the lead. But yeah, it's just kind of how the race goes, I guess, right? Like I said, you have to have a perfect week, and everything has to go your way. And it just seemed like the stars were aligning every time we were on the track.
Let me ask you this. When you were kind of running in second place there for just a moment, how did you feel at that time? Did you feel like that you know, I think you took the lead with 25 to go back to the lead. Tell us what you thought about when you were running second there for a little bit.
Man, I honestly felt fine. You know, there was like 3 or 4 laps, or the whole time I was leading, I knew that they were right behind me, and I wasn't super great those first few laps. I knew I kind of had to change some stuff up and figure it out. And once he went by me, I was actually, you know, I was fine. I wouldn't say I was happy, but it's good to, you know, get somebody else in front of you and try to figure out where you need to move around. You know, it's really hard to move when you're leading, and able to move around, finally get to second. And it's huge kind of hold on to second. Obviously, Thorson was right there, and he was fast, but getting to the lead before Tanner did was probably the game-winning, you know, the race-winning move there. If he had got to the lead before us, we probably would have been in trouble. But yeah, getting to the lead first was huge for us. But yeah, I wasn't worried at all when Ken went by. You know, obviously I knew it was only lap, you know, 15 or 20 when he passed, 20 I think around there when he passed us. And yeah, there was no worries. I think it's a little bit of an advantage at times, especially that early in the race. There was 3 or 4 laps where he got away from me, and I was getting a little worried, but then I kind of went to work a little bit and found a better line and got my car tuned in a little bit better. And yeah, I felt fine the whole race. I was never nervous. I never felt like you know, we were out of it, and kept digging. And yeah, we were able to, you know, run it back down there a few laps later and go by him.
All right. Is that the biggest win of your career? Obviously.
Yeah, absolutely, and most likely always will be. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That Turkey Night win you had a couple of years ago, that was big too, wasn't it?
Yeah, Turkey Night's a pretty close second. For me, Chili Bowl is bigger, but yeah, being a California guy and racing for a California team when we won, that makes it even cooler. You know, it's just like winning the Chili Bowl for the Swindells. You know, it's a big race for them, and yeah, Tom Malloy was over the moon about winning that race, and I know Jerome Rodello was too. And like I said, it was kind of an all-California team taking on, you know, the USAC Tour, and then to go out west and to win the biggest race of the USAC season was pretty unreal.
And one other win, too. You won one of the non-wing races down at the Jesse Hockett Daniel McMillan Memorial one year. I remember that. I don't know how big you think that is, but I thought it was big.
That's a pretty big win for us here.
Yeah, no, for sure. That was like one of my first non-wing races, too. I ran with Zach Dahm in 2017, and we went down there and won the Hockett. It was awesome for us. So, yeah, that was also a last-minute deal. I was headed to the airport, and Jeff Taylor called me and asked if I wanted to run the Hockett with Zach Dahm, and, of course, I said yes, and we went and won the race. It was pretty crazy. I think I'd only had one non-wing start before then, and we went down there and won the Hockett.
What about you're pretty good in a Silver Crown car too? What are your plans there?
Yeah, I'm going to do the same old deal with Robbie Rice. We're going to do the full season again with all the pavement and all the dirt races. And, yeah, I feel like our dirt car has been unbelievably fast the last 2 years. We've been winning races in that. And then our pavement car's gotten a lot better. We've been, at least running up front the last year and had a couple podiums and top fives and whatnot. So I'm excited about that. That's probably the series I look forward to the most every year. And, yeah, I feel like we had a shot to win the championship last year and blew up at the last race. But, yeah, I feel like every year we get better and better and better. So hopefully this year we can lock it up.
It's good news for you. You're going to be running full-time with the USAC Midgets this year. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Anytime you could, run a full season and a full schedule, it's great. And, yeah, I just got hooked up with Abacus Racing this year. Raced for them out west last year at the end of the season. And, just a great team. People I've worked with in the past, grew up racing with Johnny Kofer and Kirk Simpson with them just around the races. Never really necessarily worked with them, but know them pretty well just from racing in California and, just good friends. So it's going to be a fun year. We had some pretty good success out west with them. And, yeah, just nice race cars and good people, and that's kind of who you want to put yourself racing with.
Do you think this opportunity came about because you went in the Chili Bowl?
It certainly didn't help, but we had kind of already gotten most of our plans figured out before then. Like I said, I'd raced out west for them, and we had success, and I didn't really know if I was going to race midgets much this year, and they kind of talked me into it. And, yeah, like I said, I just have fun racing with them. But, yeah, overall, I don't think the Chili Bowl had much effect. I think if I ran last in the Chili Bowl, I still would have been racing with them this year. But yeah, obviously it helps the morale for sure.
You still going to hook up with Kevin next year's Chili Bowl?
We all haven't came up with plans yet, but yeah, I'm sure, obviously I've raced with them. This was year 4 for us. And, like I said, we still early to make any plans for next year. Lots of things can happen in between now and then. But yeah, obviously if I win the race, I really like racing with Kevin. We won the race, so I've got no reason to go anywhere else. And yeah, I think he obviously has, the best car in the building. And, yeah, obviously if he wants me back, I'm sure I'll be back.
And you got a full-time gig in the non-wing sprints with 2B Racing. Yeah,
just got that was a pretty last-minute deal there with them and Scott Bennick and Derek Claxton. And, yeah, I'm excited to go racing with them guys. I've raced with Derek before, and, we've had pretty good success. I won some sprint week races with him, and his cars are just fast and comfortable for me, and I just know what I'm getting into when I get going. And then, yeah, Scott's been around racing for a long time and builds really nice race cars, and we got a great sponsor with Kevin Newton and Honest Abe Roofing that kind of puts it all together for us. So yeah, I think overall it's a great product, and I think we're gonna have a good season.
Before we let you go, I got to ask you: are you going to run any extreme races this year?
I haven't sat down and worked out my schedule yet, but yeah, my plan right now is to run all 3 USAC series, and then obviously if there's any races that makes sense on my schedule to go run some extreme midget races, I would, but at the moment I don't really have a plan.
There he is, Logan Seavey, and some people would ask, well, why wouldn't he run a Kevin Swindell car in the full-time midgets season with USAC? Well, the reason is Kevin Swindell doesn't field a full-time midget for USAC Racing. He does the wing sprint cars. He does that. But the Chili Bowl is the big project for midgets with Kevin Swindell, and I would imagine that Logan Seavey would be back in the saddle again next year after the success that they've had. No doubt about that. We are going to be back with more Track Talk.
Kirk.
Yes, sir, Scott. Go ahead.
I was going to say we're not quite up to 40 yet, but I was going to say that I think this is going to be a breakout season for Logan. I think he's going to have an exceptional year this year. I think off of the confidence that he has of winning the Chili Bowl Midget Nationals, that's going to bring a lot of confidence to him in other forms of racing. And I think he's going to be really good with that non-wing sprint car and with the midget as well.
There's no doubt about that. And I think he's especially good in the Silver Crown car. He won some races in that division last year. So I agree with you. I think
No doubt.
this gives him a big boost. I think these teams that he hooked up with, Abacus and the Midgets and 2B Racing for the non-wing sprint car, he's poised to have a terrific season. I think he's even got a shot at maybe pulling off a championship in one of these divisions. I would say that if the best chance that he would have of winning a championship, I think, is in the Silver Crown car, because he's won.
I would agree with you.
And that Rice team that he races with in the Silver Crown car, they're as good as they are as anybody there is in USAC Silver Crown.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think that with the confidence that he has of winning the Chili Bowl Midget Nationals, I think it's going to be a stellar year for him this year.
Yep, no doubt about it. Hey, Scott, did you see the I'm not sure if you watched it or not. We didn't talk about it on Monday's show, but the final Australian race out there featuring a good many of the World of Outlaw drivers out at Premier Speedway. It was the Classic, the Australian Classic Sprint Car race that paid $50,000 to win. Did you see even the highlights of that thing? Man, what a race that was.
There was a little controversy, wasn't there, Kirk?
Not that one. The controversy we'll get into here in a little bit is the modified race last night over at East Bay Raceway Park. But the race that was out in Australia, and what a crowd. Those Australians love their sprint car racing out there. Man, what a huge crowd. The event ran late because they got rained out on Saturday night, so they had to run Saturday night show on Sunday afternoon. They're 17 hours ahead of us, by the way, so we're talking Monday morning at about 6 o'clock is when they rolled out for the $50,000 to win a main, and Brock Hallett passed Sheldon Hodenshield coming off the final turn for the win. I didn't think anybody was going to be able to do that, but man, what an impressive move by Brock Hallett, an Australian, passing Sheldon to win that feature event down there. I thought it was some terrific racing. The racetrack was in excellent shape. They put on a show out there at Australia at Premier Speedway last weekend.
Yeah, awesome. Well, you know, the sprint car fans in Australia are just as passionate as the American fans are of their sprint car racing here in the United States. So they're definitely very passionate about their sprint car racing out there.
James McFadden, who is an Aussie, won the preliminary race out there, I believe. He ran up towards the front, too. And he's coming back to the States, as well as Brad Sweet and some of the other drivers that were out there over the weekend. Some of those guys didn't fare as well. Of course, they're not in their normal. Of course, Brad Sweet was driving a 49 Napa car, but he wasn't a factor in that last race on Sunday out there. But
yeah, Marie said on here on the chat room, she said, yeah, that race last night was a total ripoff. He never jumped the restart.
No. And what we're talking about is the UMP Modifieds raced night 4 at East Bay Raceway Park last night, and Drake Troutman grabbed the lead off the final restart and won that race. But then when it was over, they said he jumped the restart. And they did full double file restarts, and there was no way he was out in front of the eventual winner of that race. That he was still in second place when they come to the start finish line for the green flag restart, green white checker finish, and he made a run to the outside to grab the lead, and he takes the checkered flag, but after the race they penalize him 2 spots for jumping the restart. And I'm saying, what in the world is that all about?
And he didn't jump the restart.
I don't think he did. No, I don't think he jumped
Marie
the restart
doesn't
at
think
all.
he did either.
No.
Yeah.
I thought it was I question that call there for sure. Lucas Lee was handed the win of that race. Tyler Nicely finished second, and they moved Drake Troutman to third after that. So yeah, I thought it was a ripoff. That's my opinion. I didn't think he jumped the start at all.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to Marvin. He's listening in from Miamisburg, Ohio. So
welcome.
I want to thank him for tuning into the show.
All right, we're going to take a break. We're coming back with more here on Track Talk. We're brought to you by Rod End Supply and the PowerEye Midwest Lightning Sprints. We're back in a couple of minutes. Stay with us.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Hey, Kansas City, Stephen St. John here. You've heard me talk about Polymagic and their awesome floor coatings, but did you know they also do concrete lifting, leveling, void fills, and crack repairs? These include the areas around your home that can cause trip hazards, driveways, garages, patios, porches, sidewalks, and a pool area. Don't let the issues worsen. Have my friends at Polymagic come out for a free estimate and ask for the SSJ special, up to $500 off your project. 816-765-4800 or visit them at polymagic.net.
Hey, Soren Petro here. When you need brilliant, sparkling diamonds, go see my friend Gary Joslin and his family at Joslin's Jewelry. For 40 years, Gary has stood behind everything in his store, from thousands of small jewelry repairs to that once-in-a-lifetime engagement ring. Joslin wants to be your jeweler for life. That's why Joslin's is the jeweler you'll recommend to your friends and family. See him at 95th and Antioch, online at joslinsjewelry.com.
Joslin's Jewelry for the best that's yet to come.
Jayhawk fans, this is Bill Self. If a sports injury puts you on the bench, turn to the Sports Medicine and Performance Center at the University of Kansas Health System. Whether it's your back, knee, hip, shoulder, or even a concussion, you can see the same experts that care for the Jayhawks. Request an appointment at kansashealthsystem.com/sportsmedicine.
The University of Kansas Health System is an official healthcare provider of Kansas Athletics together with LMH Health. Request an appointment at kansashealthsystem.com/sportsmedicine.
Kansas City is in the big game. What could be better? How about pairing the biggest event of the year with the highest quality meats? Ribeyes, KC strips, tenderloins, tri-tip, ground beef, brats, you name it, and we've got it. On a weekly basis, we feed our cows over 20,000 pounds of grains from our friends at J. Rieger & Company. The cows love it, and it helps develop deep, rich marbling while keeping the spent grains out of our landfills. Want to stretch your dollar a bit further? Make sure to check out our bundle packages of beef for the big game. Family bundles, party packs, tailgate bundles, we have it all. We have a cut of beef for every budget and will always leave you wanting more. Check out our social media at Greengrass Cattle Co. to learn more about our upcoming events, classes, and to follow the herd. We also have the first true farm-to-table meat vending machine in the country, right outside Front Range Coffee House and Provisions in Kansas City, on the corner of Gregory and Oak. Or order online at greengrasscattleco.com.
Chris, this needs to go to Parkville by 3.
Joy to the holiday packages that keep coming at Jimenez Couriers.
It's coming your way, but the drop-off location is changing.
She needs delivery drivers with the gift of punctuality.
Anyone looking to pick up some overtime? Anyone?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Creekmore Golf Club, one of the nicest upscale golf courses in Kansas City, is offering an incredible winter rate of $50 in effect through the month of March. This includes green and cart fee, and reservations can be made 5 days in advance. Also, our preview membership is a 3-month trial membership that includes unlimited golf with cart and range use. The membership can be started at a later date. Creekmore Golf Club, located in Raymore, Missouri, off I-49 and 58 Highway, 20 minutes away from most anywhere in the city. The Golf Club at Creekmore. Your only short drive of the day will be getting there.
It's time to imagine more for your business with smarter financial workflow solutions from Central Bank. We offer a full set of tools and people to make your business run smoother. Cash management and card services, payroll solutions, and loans tailored for you. Central Bank has everything you need to manage more than just your money, so you can get back to imagining even bigger possibilities. To learn more, visit centralbank.net/business. Central Bank, we do business better. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
30 seconds.
It's a banner for Kansas basketball.
Kansas City's home of the Jayhawks, March Madness, and the Final Four. Sports Radio 810, WHB.
Tank wants them to foul once the ball gets to Pettiford, but instead wanted the cup. Right hand runner, good.
Saturday at 11 a.m., the Jayhawks face Iowa State. Kansas basketball on Sports Radio 810 WHB is presented by Hy-Vee and J. Rieger Distillery.
We're back. You're listening to Track Talk. We're here every Saturday morning. Don't forget to tune in to Mostly Motorsports, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints each Monday. We're live at noon on Mondays as we wrap up the weekend, and that is also posted on wherever you get your favorite podcast. Danny Lasowski will be a guest on Monday's show, so we hope you tune in for that. And even though we're on an hour here on Sports Radio 810, we've got another full hour exclusively on Racing Boys and Facebook Live and YouTube Live coming up and at 9 o'clock here this morning. So we're on a full 2 hours for those of you watching on our social network pages. Hey, Scott, there was a story that came out this past week that Scott Bloomquist is going to have to undergo back surgery, and that means an uncertain future of how much longer he's going to be driving a race car. He really never recovered from that motorcycle wreck he had back in 2019, and he's experienced numbness in his extremities, and he had to pull out of the Sunshine Nationals down at Volusia Speedway Park a couple of weeks ago. So the legendary Scott Bloomquist, I'm not sure we're going to see him in a race car again.
You know, Kirk, I think Scott Bloomquist would be a great analyst up in the booth. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. No question he would.
Because he doesn't mince words.
Right.
And he's not afraid to say things. And I think he would be an absolute brilliant analyst in the booth. What do you think?
Well, there's no question about that. The question is that something he wants to do? I don't know. I look at him still being active. I think he still would own a race car and field race cars, even though he might not be driving them. I think drivers, he's a mentor of drivers, the way he helped that Smith kid win that dirt track world championship last year out of Portsmouth Speedway. I think he gets off on that, helping younger drivers out. I look for him more to play that kind of a role. I think he'll have a car, maybe put a young driver in a car and stay active that way. But that's just my guess. But this surgery, I mean, he even admits himself, you never know what the results of that are going to be, if he's going to be able to even drive a race car after that. He is 59 years old, so he doesn't need to prove anything to anybody. He's already accomplished everything there is to accomplish in dirt late model racing. So if he stepped out of the car at the age of 59 right now, he still had a full career.
I think Scott Bloomquist would be a heck of a car owner, and I think that I'm not so sure that he is going to have an easy time getting out of the car, to be honest with you. He's been doing it for such a long time. He's been on top of the game as long as anybody else. He's kind of the Tom Brady of late model racing, isn't he?
Yeah. You bring up Tom Brady. It's that kind of a thing. Tom Brady was playing football for 23 years. It's tough for these guys to quit. I don't care what kind of a sport you're in. If you're a competitor at the highest level, it's tough to put it down. Very hard.
Listen, a lot of people say that about Sammy Swindell, too.
Sure, and he's still at it. At 67 years old, Sammy is still out there doing it.
Let's be fair, though. As much as we love Sammy Swindell, and listen, I'm a big fan of Sammy. Sammy and I get along really well. And I'll just say it. Sammy needs to start rolling up his career a little bit. He's not as competitive as he used to be. I mean, you look back 4 or 5 years ago, he was still running pretty good. But as of lately, he's not been running that good, and I think it's about time for Sammy to give it up.
I'm going to let him make that call.
What do you think?
Only he can make that call when it's time to step out of the car.
What do you think, Kirk? Have an opinion.
I don't think that he is content just riding around and not being competitive. I think when you see he finally realizes that he can no longer win races, and I think that's pretty close to that right now, because I don't think he can win races at the highest level right now, that he's going to say, you know what, I can't win. What am I doing out here? I think he's going to come to that realization here fairly soon. But that's just my. I don't think he's the kind of guy that's going to be happy just being at the track and riding around in mid-pack or at the back of the pack at these races. And as you pointed out, he was competitive only until recently. But hey, when you're 67 years old, you know, you're not going to be as good as a kid that's half your age.
Listen, Kirk, he's not John Force.
No, but you know
John Force can still win races.
He can
at the highest level. Yeah,
but that's drag racing too. You're only going down the track 5 seconds.
2 minutes. Right.
You know, so that there is a difference there, but still your reaction time is not going to be as good at the age John Force is. He's well over 70 years old now than somebody half his age. But you know something? His reaction times are still pretty good out there.
Oh, they are.
He's
still one of the best.
But I don't think John Force is going to want to hang around if he doesn't feel he can still win races. The fact is, John Force is still winning races.
Yeah, he still wins from time to time.
But Scott Bloomquist has really not been competitive since that motorcycle accident. He's not been the same.
Yep.
And he was, and let's be honest, he was racing at the highest level and winning major races up until that wreck occurred.
Yeah. Hey, I want to remind everybody, don't forget to tune in on Monday at 12 o'clock Central Time. It's Mostly Motorsports with the Racing Boys, Kirk and myself, and along with Todd Surprise. And we will be on the air with Danny Lasowski on Monday. Danny has just had a birthday, and we're going to talk about that. He's living down in Florida now. He's not living in Missouri anymore. He's living in Florida, and we'll talk about that and what his plans are for the rest of the year this year.
And it was tough for Danny to step out of the race car, too.
No doubt.
It's hard for all of these drivers, no doubt about that. So,
it was just as tough for Johnny Herrera, too.
No doubt about it.
30 seconds.
We can talk about a lot of different drivers. It's been very difficult for these guys to hang it up. Hey, thanks for tuning in. We're going to do it again next Saturday morning. Thanks to Todd Surprise, to Kyle Collier back at the Sports Radio 810 studios. For my partner, Scott Traylor, I'm Kirk Elliott. Thanks for tuning us in. Stay tuned for exclusively Hour 2 on Racing Boys coming up next. Thanks for being with us. Have a good weekend.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Thanks, Kyle.
You have a frog,
Thank you,
a
guys. You guys have a
freezing
good one.
room
You too,
over
brother.
the garage.
Appreciate it.
Now that everyone is home, are you looking to convert your frog into an office, a schoolroom, or a comfort?
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Clear, especially sportswear, in-house. We do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other ad specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Missouri's must play getaway. Osage National Golf Resort.
3 9-hole courses to choose from at the Lake of the Ozarks in the Osage River Valley. Stay and play packages in our first-class condos. A beautiful clubhouse complete with pro shop and exercise facilities. A large pool for relaxation and families. The Eagle View Sports Bar and Grill. Great wedding facilities. Go online and make your tee time today.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum, and our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, sprintcarstuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
Hey everybody, this is Larry the Cable Guide. You are listening to RacingBoys.com, and if you're not, I swear to you, get in your truck or do something, but get the hell out of this country, because you don't belong in it if you don't listen to these fellas.
Welcome to Hour 2 of the Midwest's #1 weekly motorsports show, Track Talk, on the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Once again, here's Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome back. Hour 2 of Track Talk, exclusively here on Racing Boys. I'm Kirk Elliott, along with Scott Traylor, Todd Surprise, pushing all the buttons here this morning. And, we're looking at the Lucas Oil Twitter page, Scott. That race is still on tonight up at Alltech Raceway. They got rained out last night, but the race up there is still on tonight if you want to head up there and check out some late model racing tonight.
Marie just sent me a little post, and I just watched the restart of that race. Kirk, I'm going to have to slightly disagree with everybody else. It did seem like he may have jumped that start just a little bit.
Yeah, but he was still behind the leader at the start-finish line when they waved the green flag. He was not out in front of him at all. No, it's a full double file restart, is it not?
What I see, he crossed the start-finish line before the second-place car.
Yeah, but he was starting on the outside of the front row when that restarted.
I'm just going to say that it looked like he jumped that start just a little bit.
The leader still had the lead at the start-finish line when they waved the green flag. Lucas Lee. He was still out in front. Troutman still was behind him on the outside. I don't think he jumped it at all.
Well, I see it a little different than you.
It's a full double file restart, is it not?
It's a double file restart, but he did pull him a little bit off of the bottom, a little bit at the start of that race.
Well, we're going to have to disagree about that. I don't see it.
Marie doesn't believe you either.
I'm watching it again, and again, he's out about a car length in front of the second place car as he crosses the start finish line.
But he was in second place when he restarted the race. He was starting on the outside of the front row. Yes, he's going to be ahead of he should be second because that's where he restarted. Outside front row. But they put him back to third, which that defies any kind of explanation at all why they would penalize him 2 spots. Right. I don't get it. I don't understand. What we're talking about is last night's UMP modified race at East Bay Raceway Park. It was night 4 of the UMP modifieds during their Winter Nationals down there. Lucas Lee had led most of the race coming down to the final restart. Now, Drake Troutman had taken the lead with about 7 laps to go through lap traffic. But then another caution came out, and on that restart, Lucas Lee was able to retain the lead on the bottom because he had no lap traffic to worry about at that point, and he was out in front. But then another yellow flag happened, and it forced a green-white checker restart, and it's a full double file restart. Lucas Lee was on the inside of the front row, and Drake Troutman was on the outside of the front row, and they came down to the green flag. Lucas Lee still had the lead at the start-finish line when they waved the green flag. And Troutman was able to work the outside, but not only did they take the win away from him, they penalized him 2 spots and scored him third in the final rundown. Tyler Nicely was given second place in that race. I don't see it. I don't see where he jumped that restart. But that's just me. If you see something that I don't see, and you say that he was ahead of the second place car, well, Troutman was in second place when that restart occurred.
Wasn't Troutman the leader at that time?
No, Lucas Lee was in the lead at that time. The 12 car.
Well, the car to the inside.
He was
on
the leader.
Pole.
He was the leader.
It appeared to me that he kind of jumped a little bit.
The number 12 car was the leader of the race, and he had the lead at the start-finish line when they waved the green flag. Troutman is in the blue 5 car on the outside.
Right. And Troutman was the one penalized.
I mean, he won the race. He got out in front, came down for the checkered flag, won it. Very close race. And to me, he won it fair and square. So I don't understand Now, I could get if Troutman was leading and had pulled out in front of the leader at the start-finish line, that is a jump in the restart. But he was not ahead of the 12th car at the start-finish line. He was behind him still. So I don't understand that call at all. Now, I'm not normally a guy to, criticize officials' decisions, but to me, Drake Troutman got screwed out of that win last night.
Speaking of officials, do you think the officials give the Chiefs that game last week?
No, I don't think so at all. They hit Patrick Mahomes out of bounds. That was unnecessary. You got to call that no matter when that occurs. And it was a definite penalty there that gave the Chiefs extra yards.
No,
to kick
not
the
that
field goal.
penalty, Kirk. I'm talking about during the game.
Or when they had to replay third down? Or what? I guess I'm not knowing what you're
He's talking about
to.
Everything. If
the officiating was bad, there's no doubt about it.
How about when the official came running in and stopped the play?
Oh yeah, that was horrible.
Well, they were blowing the whistle, but Kansas City's crowd is so loud, you ain't going to be able to hear everything. This is the reason why you don't take a game away from the home field. If this game would have had to been played in Buffalo, in the neutral site, could you imagine?
It would have been different.
Oh, completely different. We changed the way that whole game was played from the very first play. Joe Burrow they even said it on the thing, how loud this was, louder than any time they'd ever been at Arrowhead from play one. They were already making up their plays, their silent plays from the first snap. If you're in Cleveland or if you're in Ohio, you're crying all the time about these calls again all weekend.
That's what the people on the East.
Yes, but here's
some of the people out on the East Coast. That's how they are.
Oh,
and I love our friends that listen to our show on the East Coast. And man, we can't thank them enough. Marie, Tammy, everybody that's out there on the East Coast. But to be honest with you, the football fans that are out there on the East Coast, to me, it seems like they talk about the teams on the East Coast and the West Coast way more than they talk about the teams in the Midwest.
That's where
Would you agree with me on that?
Well, that's just normal procedure, is it not? That we're flyover country here. We don't matter. The only thing that matters is the East and the West Coast, right?
It's how it's always been. I can't see it ever changing. I just know that we have Patrick Mahomes, and we've been in the AFC West championship game 5 years straight, and we're in the Super Bowl 3 out of 5 years. If you would have told me that the day we drafted this kid, I'd have said you're nuts. There's no way we're going to 3 Super Bowls in 5 years.
That's crazy.
So I don't care what the rest of the league says. I don't care. This is how it's going to be. Tom Brady's gone. This is the guy that's the face of the league from now on. You can pretend like it's everybody else, but there's nobody with the credentials playing in the NFL that Patrick Mahomes has. None.
I heard Sam McDowell, or I forget, one of the local commentators on there make an absurd comment that, well, yeah, it's great that Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs have been to 5 straight AFC championship games, and they've only won it once, he said. I'm thinking, what? Said, yeah, it's great. If you get to that many, he's only won it one time, and I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me.
How many has Aaron Rodgers won?
One.
Well,
how many is all these?
To be fair, they've been in the Super Bowl 3 out of the last 4 years.
Right.
Yeah.
How's that?
But he was trying to downplay their accomplishment to say, yes, but
they've only won
one Super Bowl.
And I'm here to tell you that there's every other team in the world is jealous of what we have, and you can't tell me that they aren't, because they're doing their damnedest
Oh, yeah.
to do everything they can to beat us. Ask Denver, who's given away every draft pick for the next 3 years to try to do something to turn that ship around. The Walmart money, pocket money's deep, but this isn't the MLB where there's no salary cap and you can spend like you want. There's a salary cap and you can bring in all you want, but you still got to play by these rules. And you can bring Sean Payton in, but you still got to deal with on-field talent, and you can't tell me that they're going to be any better. They're not. They're just not. It's going to take 4 years for that team to turn around.
Marie says she's not a and never will be an Eagles fan. God bless you, Marie.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how it all turns out next week.
Let me give you a list. Just this list right here will just, if you've never heard this list, this is the entire list of quarterbacks who have started 3 Super Bowls and won at least one of those. So that means you have to start in 3 Super Bowls in your career. That eliminates 90% of the league right there. So we're going to list we're going to list all the quarterbacks who've started 3 Super Bowls and have won one already. Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Troy Aikman, Bob Greasy, John Elway, Ben Roethlisberger, Terry Bradshaw, Peyton Manning, and Patrick Mahomes. Enough said. Every one of them have a gold jacket or is going to get a gold jacket in the next 4 years. That's it. That puts him in elite top 10 talent of all time.
No doubt. And you talk about the quarterbacks that have never won it, that like Dan Marino, for instance, never won a Super Bowl.
I'm sick of Dan Marino. He's down there crying, down there still pretending like he's somebody. He ain't won nothing. That's what I'm going to say. If they're going to say Patrick Mahomes ain't much because he's won one, Dan Marino's, it must be just total crap because he ain't won anything.
He didn't win.
Win crap.
He got there twice.
Had more talent around him than anybody. Had Dupree and all these wide receivers, but couldn't do nothing. But yet, we have a one-legged man kicking people's ass in an ass-kicking contest, right? A one-legged man kicking ass in an ass-kicking contest. That's what we have. I get so sick of these guys, man.
Listen, I feel pretty good about Buckner. He seems like he's kicking a lot better than he was.
Yeah, the last 2 games especially, he's not made any mistakes. The holder has done his job, and they kicked that game-winning field goal the other day.
Here's another factor. You've got only 5 starters on the Eagles that have played in the Super Bowl. 5.
And who are they? You know?
Well, I know Kelsey's one of them. You know, their Kelsey, not our Kelsey.
Not their quarterback.
Not their quarterback, not their coach, not their running back. But guess who on our team has been to the Super Bowl? 22 players from the Kansas City Chiefs roster starting has been in the Super Bowl and have
Kelce
won it.
has won.
So
Mahomes.
Just so you know, that last game that they played against the 49ers, I think Hurts only had like 122 yards of passing.
Yeah. Didn't have to because
it helps when the other team doesn't have a quarterback.
Yeah, when the other team doesn't have a quarterback, and you got to bring back the guy who has a broken. I mean, heck, the guy's elbow was torn in half.
I feel so bad about my boy Brock Purdy.
Yeah,
who has to undergo surgery, and his future is uncertain.
He won't
be
ready
back in 6 months in time for training camp,
July.
or does he have to have the full Tommy John surgery that'll keep him out a year? Boy, that's a tough way to go, man.
Kirk,
I feel for him.
Kirk. Brock Purdy's career might be over.
Yeah, I know. That's what's scary about it. That's what.
But if
anytime you got to have a surgery on your throwing arm, your elbow, that's uncertain future, no doubt about it. And I really feel for the kid because he really did well the time that he came in and helped the 49ers get as far as they did. And to get hurt that early in the game, you know, that was just a horrible thing.
Shanahan acted like he was going to be fine by July.
I hope
During
so.
that press conference, they said, we're not bringing anybody in. We've got 2 starting quarterbacks. He'll be fine by July, and we'll be fine.
I hope so.
So I don't know. Like you said,
Hey, did you Kirk, did you see where Tyler Rimmer is going to be set course to run full time with the USAC Midgets with KKM? Did you see that?
Taylor Reimer, yes, I think that's cool. She's run fast at many times this year.
She's a pretty good talent.
But she just got to be there to close the deal in a lot of these races. She's been fast, and she just got to get herself in a position where she can close the deal.
Let me tell you something. If Taylor ends up being fast, she's got the looks and she's got whatever it takes to get to the next level. And if she can make it to the next level, run in the truck series, maybe get into the Xfinity series, she's got everything it takes. The looks, the personality. I think that she could go a long ways if she just gets a break, maybe in the truck series.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think she's quite as talented as Jade Abedisian and Kaylee Bryson, but she has certainly run fast enough in a lot of races that she can sure improve to the level to where she start, finishing the deal up there. But I wouldn't quite put her on the level of Jade and Kaylee right now.
No, I wouldn't either. But the one thing that she's got going for her, she's got the looks.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, she went to school at University of Oklahoma and well-educated, well-spoken. And the thing about it is she's got a lot of laps. These kids that mastered Port City Raceway, she's one of them. She went down there and ran a lot at Port City and competed against a lot of those same drivers down there, and she did very well when she was moving up through the ranks down at Port City.
Right. I think she's got we're pretty lucky to have Jade, Kaylee, and Taylor, all three of these young ladies running in the USAC Midget Series right now.
Yeah. And you see what Kaylee and Jade did to qualify for the A-Main at the Chili Bowl. I mean, that is a hell of an accomplishment for anyone to get into the show. Out of 365 entries to make the A-Main at the Chili Bowl, I think that's huge. And both those girls did it, yeah. Jade and Kaylee, and second year in a row for Kaylee to make the A-Main.
Yeah, no doubt. And Jade, she got Rookie of the Year, didn't she?
Yes, I think so. That show she put on in the preliminary night down there where she ran third, she made some really impressive moves in that race to put herself into position. And at time, early in the race, I thought maybe she might have a shot at it. I mean, she was making some moves that were very impressive, and she came across the line third in that prelim, just one spot out of, transferring in. I couldn't be more impressed with the job she did.
Yeah, no doubt. Kirk, I don't know if you saw this, but they're going to increase the purse for OCRS, a great series down there in Oklahoma. They're going to pay $1,500 to win and $300 to start. That's pretty good.
That?
Yeah.
Terry Maddox is running that series, right?
Yes, right. He is.
And that is a good series for young and up-and-coming drivers to really get their feet wet. And the car counts have been very good in this series over the last many years. And running a lot of these tracks down in Oklahoma and elsewhere. The competition level has been very good. We carried some of their races on Racing Boys. Last year we did live video, and I got to tell you that they put on great racing in that series.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the one good thing about it is that OCRS is a place to learn how to be a professional, where you can learn how to run and kind of got to get a little bit of a taste of what it takes to run at the next level. I mean, not that it's ASCS, but OCRS is pretty damn good, and they're going to pay $1,500 to win, $300 to start. That's pretty good. And they're also going to have the Salina High Banks Speedway, and they're going to run that race, and they're going to pay $3,000 to win and $1,000 to start at that race.
How about that? That Ameriflex Challenge. That's an event that's been going on in that series for a number of years, and what a great racetrack to have that on at Salina High Banks. I mean, that is a fast racetrack.
Right.
Who we got online now?
How about old David Gravel?
Yeah. What about David Gravel?
Well, you know, he's going to be driving again. He's going to be driving for the Big Game Motorsports. Gravel kicking off a third season together with at Dirt Car Nationals, and he'll be running with that Huset's sponsorship on the side of the car with Todd Quering.
Yeah, he's got a chance to win the World of Outlaws Championship this year, no doubt about it. See if Brad Sweet's string of 4 straight can be broken. He is certainly one of them that can get the job done this year to get off to a good start down here at Volusia this next weekend. Be interesting to see just how it goes with the number 2 car, Big Game Motorsports, but he certainly has a pretty good shot at it this year. Try to unseat Brad Sweet.
I'm gonna put my money on Carson Macedo. He won 11 races last year. Brad Sweet won 5. David Gravel won 7. Carson Macedo won 11. Sheldon Hodenshield, he won 9. He's got to be another guy that's got to be one of the favorites going into this race. And Logan Schuchart, he won 5 races this year. So, and then Brett Marks, he won 5 races as well. So, Brett Marks is not going to be running full time with the All-Star Circuit of Champions or the World of Outlaws. But I got a feeling that Carson Macedo could be the guy to beat this year.
Oh, absolutely. You got to throw him into the mix as well, based on what they've done in the past. We got Lee Spencer online.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Lee?
Moving and grooving, trying to stay warm. My gosh, it's frigid here.
You're in St. Louis area this weekend?
I am. And then we're heading east and then south to Daytona.
You decided not to go to L.A. this time.
It's a lot of travel for a little bit of work. So
right.
We thought it was best to, since we're going to be gone for 5 weeks, this is the best way to handle it.
And you were there last year.
I was there last year for the inaugural, and I'm getting ready to post a story as soon as I get off with you guys. Getting ready to post a story just about how electrifying that race was last year. I mean, it was the biggest event, and I say event, right, because it was just so amazingly cool and had such great entertainment and such buzz. Just with all the people around the racetrack, first time people, young people, youngest crowd I'd ever seen at a racetrack. And I've got to say, it was just amazing. I mean, I just, like I said, all the years I've been covering racing, I think, the reimagined Daytona, going from the old Daytona to the new, that was way, way cool, right? Going to the Brickyard the first time, that was way, way cool. But this ranked right up there with, the top 5 things I'd ever witnessed as far as just from a facility standpoint at a racetrack.
Yeah. Lee, we were just having a discussion here a few minutes ago about Taylor Raymer, Kaylee Bryson, and Jade Avedisian. Which one of those 3 girls do you think is going to get the break at the next level?
My money would probably be on Jade, simply because she just, she puts her head down and go. There's no drama surrounding her. She's not, sitting there putting up glamour shots. It's all about racing. And I think when you concentrate solely on the task at hand, that gives you the best opportunity to succeed. You know, I kind of look at the, you know, I look at how some of the girls have come in NASCAR, and it's like, you know, if you want to do glamour shots, then go be a model. If you want to race. And I'm not saying you can't be attractive and race. You know, we've seen it in the past, but and I'm not, you know, I get that this younger generation is all about self-promotion, but I just, you know, I think that if you put your head down and stick to what best suits you for competition is the way to go.
Yeah.
No, I would agree wholeheartedly with that. And, you know, the performance she put on down there at the Chili Bowl, we talked about that here a couple of minutes ago. I mean, that finishing third in that preliminary race that night and some of the moves she was making in that race was very impressive.
Oh, it was. And, you know, she had the equipment. She made the most out of the opportunity. And I think that that's, you know, the one, whoever is the girl that's going to break through is she's going to be all business and just, you know, setting her sights on winning and, you know, being the best. And it's not, you know, just beating the boys, it's being the best. I mean, I can remember, you know, the guys when Tammy Jo Kirk came and she was racing a truck, right? The guys knew that if they got behind her and put a little dirty air on her and got her, you know, a little sideways, that they could pass her. And, you know, if you've got that feel in your seat and it just kind of gives you more dread than it does, okay, I need to buckle down and you know, hold my position, then it's, you know, it's going to be a tough road to hoe. I mean, you know, the best racers, when they smell blood in the water, it's, you know, kind of like a shark and they go for it. And you can't ever let them, right. You can't let your competition identify your weaknesses.
Right. No doubt. Did you feel that Tanner Thorson might have had the faster car of the two that were running up front at the end of the Chili Bowl? Did you feel like Tanner was a little bit faster than maybe Logan Seavey?
I'm not going to rag on the track, you know, because everyone else has, but I think under, you know, different conditions that we would have had that side-by-side finish that we were looking for. The only person out there that really showed me that he could pass on that track was Kyle Jones. And I talked to Tanner about that the other day. I'm working on a feature on Tanner. You know, Tanner has talked about wanting to expand his operation and go more into training young up-and-coming kids. He's kind of looking at making it a boutique kind of deal. You know, he doesn't want a huge operation where he's worried about 5 or 6 cars every night. He said he'll worry about that when he gets older. You know, he wants to be able to concentrate and be hands-on, because you guys know Tanner. I mean, you know, he's almost hands-on to a fault. And if he's got to work on his own stuff and work on somebody else, it's balancing time. I think he did that a real good job of that with Ace McCarthy this last Chili Bowl, because I told Ace when I talked to him for this story that, you know, in years past when you've competed at the Chili Bowl, you're not known for your performance. You're known for the party bus, right? Everybody who wants to interview Ace wanted to go back to the party bus. This was all buckle down and race. He missed the A-main by 1 position, and I think that, you know, just his ability to show what he was capable of accomplishing spoke a lot to Tanner's operation, right? I think Tanner probably had the best car. Logan, you know, had the opportunity to start up front. And let's face it, guys, Logan, in his qualifying night, he was, you know, class of the field. So you knew he was going to go into the A-main with just top equipment, and I think he proved that.
It'd been a couple of years since you'd been to the Chili Bowl. What were your thoughts about coming back after being away for a couple of years?
Oh, I was absolutely thrilled to be back in Tulsa. And you know, honestly, as much as I adore Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell, I don't think that it took anything away from the star power that was there. I mean, you can talk about that all day long. You can do features on them. Yes, Kyle is a Cup champion. Christopher Bell will be, mark my words, will be a Cup champion. I think we're going to see the two battle in stock cars for years to come. But that being said, I don't think it took any of the excitement out of the house with those two gone. And, maybe one day they'll come back, maybe they won't. But the Chili Bowl lives on. It's kind of like the NASCAR circus. The circus rolls on whether you're there or not. And I think that those two, even their absence didn't take anything away from the Chili Bowl. I thought it was still the fabulous show that it always is. And I heard you guys talking about World of Outlaws. I can't wait to get down there for that. I have to agree with you, Scott, about Carson Macedo. I talked to him at Turkey Night in Ventura. He really sounds stoked and ready to go. I mean, I would consider last year really his breakout season. And I think he's got the money. He's got the confidence. Is he going to be the next Brad Sweet? Who knows? But Brad's going to be really hard to unseat. But Carson's right there. I didn't see out of Logan last year what I, kind of expected to see. But I think it's going to be your typical cast of characters in 2023.
Hey, did you watch that race out in Australia last Sunday?
I did not. We were watching football like pretty hardcore, so I missed it.
It was like 6 o'clock on Monday morning is when we saw it. It was live. They had to run two events in the same day because they got rained out on Saturday night. So they ran their preliminary race in the afternoon. James McFadden won that. Then they turned things around. I think it was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning local time when they ran that feature. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning here on Monday. But Brock Hallett passing Sheldon Hodenshield coming off the fourth turn for the win. I was very impressed with the track conditions, the crowd. That was quite an event out there.
I mean, it's on our bucket list to go back to Australia, New Zealand. I think that is something that Reed and I are really looking forward to doing because we really spent most of our time at Western Springs. We'd really like to get to Archer Field and some of the other Australian tracks that, we drove by but never really got to get deep into. So I'm kind of looking forward to doing that. What's your, do you guys think that Sheldon will buckle down and not be as hit or miss? Because if there's one thing that I've noticed out of Sheldon, I think he's got real star power. I just want to see some consistency out of him. Yeah, he's a favorite when you go to I-55 and certain tracks. You just expect him to be in the mix. But don't you think to win a championship, he's got to be there week in and week out?
No, I would agree. I would agree with that.
Well, he had 30 top fives and 50 top 10s last year. Out of 69 races,
but most of these
races,
most of these 9 wins
ended up 264 points out. Kirk, would you quit talking over me, please? He ended up. He was out 264 points. He won 9 races. But I'm with you, Lee. I think that Sheldon is another guy that you're going to have to keep an eye on because I think he's going to be right up there at the top of things when it's all said and done.
I mean, I think the kid has tremendous star power. He's got a name. He's got the personality. He's got the looks to just really, help take World of Outlaws, make it bigger and better. I just, I want to see more wins out of him. Top 5s and top 10s, you've got consistency there. You have the number of podiums he was on. I'd be curious because I'm like, it just seems like, maybe it's the announcers that concentrate on top 2, top 3, whatever. But his name isn't mentioned as much as I think it should be. And it was cool. There were a lot of drivers that really broke through and made something of it. I mean, I'm still and tell me if I missed this because I might not have had a release on it. Has Tyler Courtney announced what he's doing full time this year?
Haven't seen it yet. He was out there in Australia too, by the way. But I haven't seen any
it.
announcements recently about Tyler.
I mean, I think after you've won the championship and All-Star Circuit of Champions, you know, if once you've won that championship twice, I mean, shouldn't you really be looking at the biggest, you know, open wheel series as far as, you know, wing sprint cars go, and then, you know, dabble when you want with the All-Stars? I mean, where does he go from here? You know, you just keep winning championships on that tour, or do you race against the Brad Sweets and the Donnie Schatz and the
best,
you know, with a headier field.
And he's got that King's Royal to show for his career so far.
I'm gonna say this: do not count out Donnie Schatz, because at the end of the year last year, he was coming on like gangbusters. And I'm telling you, it seems like they got that Ford program figured out. He picked up 5 wins. He had 28 top 5s and 55 top 10s in 69 starts last year. Do not count out Donnie Schatz this year.
Well, and let's not forget last year, he was going through quite a lot, and his father passed, and his father was like his hero, right? And when you're dealing and you're kind of like on pins and needles, knowing that the time is getting near, I don't care, you know, how many championships you have, how many wins you have, and you know, you can compartmentalize that some. Can you compartmentalize it totally? I don't think so. And with that not being a distraction this year, and I'm not speaking, you know, please don't take me wrong when I say that the death of a family member is a mere distraction, because it's so much bigger than that. But, you know, I think it was really, really tough for him to come to terms with what was going on, you know, with the loss of his father.
Don't you feel like Tyler Courtney wants to get over there to World of Outlaws and try to take on those guys?
I do, but I also think that he's got to have, you know, he wants to have the kind of equipment that he needs to run up front. He's got the talent to run up front. There's no doubt in my mind. And, you know, I've had the conversation with him, you know, first year when he was in All-Stars and he was kicking ass. You know, what did you hang out in USAC too long, right? I mean, were you chasing that perhaps a little longer than you should have? But you know, when you look at the age difference between him and Brad Sweet and Donnie Schatz, he still has a lot of years ahead of him. But I think now is the time. You know, I won't say stop scoring around, right? But you need to have a full-blown effort wherever you're going to go. I think he's got the relationship with Nas to pull that off. And you know, you talk about a kid who is such a, you know, crossover kind of guy, as far as he's a triple threat, right? He has the looks, he's got the talent, he's got the personality. He's another one like Sheldon. You know, if you were going to do a media tour of your top guys, you know, you put those two up on a podium and you know, they're going to get attention. And I'd throw Carson Macedo into that as well. But, you know, you want to talk about the next phase or the next chapter of World of Outlaws, those three, I believe, are it. And, you know, I would really push to get those guys up in center to promote my tour.
Yeah. Lee, who do you think is going to be the favorite to win out at the Coliseum this weekend?
Well, I would have to put my money on Joey Logano. He returned back to SiriusXM on the NASCAR channel this week doing Morning Drive, and he was a regular, you know, last year as well. He is so informative when he comes on that show, and just brings a, you know, great perspective for listeners to just kind of get a behind-the-scenes look as to, what makes him tick, what makes a two-time Cup champion tick, you know, how he balances life and work. And, you know, once he puts that helmet on, you know, he's a killer. And I think after he and Paul proved that what they could do last year, the confidence that he took coming into Phoenix you didn't feel it among the other three contenders. And, they may get there, or they may have felt like they were beat before they got there. I don't know. But they have not made any changes to this team. They've had a year to work on the car. They've got a winning notebook from last year. It would be really hard for me to pull against him. The one cool thing, and, this is in my story, that NASCAR did, they expanded the field by 3 positions. I think that's going to make a huge difference, just as far as an entertainment value, because the list of people that did not get through the LCQs, did not get through the 4 heats in the LCQs last year, you had, 2 champions in Brad Keselowski and Kurt Busch. They were on the outside looking in. Alex Bowman, there were quite a few drivers that usually would bring star power to the table that didn't make the show. And so I think adding, the extra spots will at least give people more of an all-star feel when they come to LA.
The driver I'm keeping my eye on is Kyle Busch in that number 8 car. How's he going to do this year?
Absolutely. I mean, I completely agree with you, too, that, Logano's my favorite. Kyle Busch and Tyler Reddick are certainly drivers to watch. I've got like 4 drivers to watch, and that'll be in the story, too. Logano, Reddick, and Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch, why? Because he's going into the car that led the most laps last year. It was Tyler Reddick led 53 laps, or 51 of 53 laps before his drivetrain went. So he's going into a car that led the most laps. He led the second most laps, right? So that's a potent combination. So you take, Reddick and you move him over to the Toyota camp, although he won't be in the 18, he'll be in really solid equipment. But Kyle Busch, he's got something to prove. And I think that just, giving the amount of service that he did to Joe Gibbs Racing, adding how many wins, 2 championships to that organization's resume, and then you boot him out the door. I mean, it made absolutely no sense. You find a way. Toyota should have found a way. I mean, with Dave Wilson going down to the Rolex last week and telling Nate Ryan he wants to expand the footprint of the Toyotas, why the hell didn't you do it last year and keep Kyle Busch in your stable? Because he is by far the most naturally talented of the veterans that we still have in the field, right? So it's I don't know. I think he's going over, he's going over to RCR like somebody who, okay, you dumped me. Now I'm going to get even with you. He's looking for revenge, and I think he's going to find it in 2023.
Do you think that Kyle Busch has a chip on his shoulder right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And that makes him even more dangerous than usual. I think he was, we did not see the best out of Kyle Busch the last 2 years, but they didn't change his crew chief either. I don't think there was any chemistry between him and Ben Bayshore. I just don't think it was a good situation for Kyle whatsoever. And that reflected on the racetrack. And so he and Randall Burnett, who is a Midwest guy, St. Louis guy, his brother and sister-in-law own Millbridge. So, he's got a dirt track pedigree. But they've already, worked on bonding. The kids have raced together. They've hung out at Millbridge. They've just really built a rapport. And I think Randall's salivating after having this opportunity to work with a 2-time champion. That's taking nothing away for Tyler Reddick. Reddick and Randall got along fabulously, but if somebody walked up to you and said, "Hey, Scott, I'm going to give you a 2-time champion to work with this year," you would be over the moon. And I really think that that combined with what they've been able to do on the General Motors side of the equation with building their performance center on the campus of Hendrick Motorsports, and just more of the back and forth that they have between all the Chevrolet teams will work out exceptionally well for Kyle Busch this year.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk...
Braxton,
go ahead, Scott.
Do you think Braxton is going to be a quality stock car driver in his day at some point?
It just depends what they, plan on doing with him, because you look at Kevin Harvick, right? He's taken Keelan over to Europe to already race go-karts. I mean, I think that they've got bigger plans for Braxton than simply running in the, running stock cars. So are they going to do the same thing? Or did I say Braxton? I think they have bigger plans for Keelan, right? Whether or not Kyle Busch follows that path, Kevin, is basically saying goodbye to NASCAR so he can spend full time with his kids. And so I think that kind of changes the dynamic for them. Who knows what they'll end up doing with Braxton. It just depends on whether or not that they go the stock car route or they go open wheel. I mean, I don't mean open wheel as far as, World of Outlaws, whatever. These people are playing, high stakes poker. And I'm not quite sure at this point where that leads either of those two families.
Yeah, I just was going to say Kyle Busch last year, anybody that doesn't think that whole situation of his uncertainty of whether or not he was coming back for Joe Gibbs and how much that weighed on him. He won just that one race, that dirt race at Bristol last year. That had a huge impact on his whole total performance. And the thing about it is that a lot of people not thinking about.
Was a fluke, Kirk.
Say again.
No, I said that was a fluke, right? Because Reddick was the class of the field there, and Briscoe takes him out coming out of turn 4, the C's parting, and Kyle Busch gets the win.
Yeah.
He was not the best car.
No.
There. So that was almost like a win's a win, right? But,
right.
That wasn't a defining win. That wasn't a win where he was the class of the field. He didn't dominate that racetrack. I mean, that was, yeah. But
so,
anyway,
he very easily could not have had any wins at all. But, the whole stress of wondering about his truck team and everything like that entered into the whole equation too, did it not?
Well, I look at, the truck team, and I think there might have been a moment in time where the truck team might have been collateral damage, right? I mean, it might have just gone by the wayside. But Chevrolet, this gives them an opportunity, because remember, Chevrolet really doesn't have any young studs coming up through their stables. They, it's, I don't know, JR Motorsports, they used to groom them. It was kind of like if you were going to go into the Chevy camp, Toyota brought you in, you went through Kyle Busch, then JR Motorsports would take you over, and, then you'd get thrown into one of the GM cars. But it's like Rick Hendrick, who I would say has been the most successful Chevrolet, team owner. He said, hey, I don't have to spend the money training these kids. I just, buy them when I need them. And so, that has worked for him in the past. And it's going to be fun to watch whether or not, this Kyle Busch's deal, he certainly received diversity funds because they've had partnerships with Rev Racing. Max Siegel's gotten involved. He's going to have a Hispanic driver. He's going to, they're bringing other people in. So this is going to give Chevrolet finally an opportunity to have a driver development program, and I think it'll bode well for that.
Everybody wants to drive for Rick Hendrick, don't they?
I'm sorry, what?
I said everybody wants to drive for Rick Hendrick, right?
Oh, well, I mean, why not? And, he's got 3 drivers already signed up. I mean, that's another storyline to watch this year, is simply the fact that Alex Bowman is not he's not signed up beyond this year. Now, do I think he's going anywhere? I've heard rumblings, but that being said, Ally loves him, and if Ally, if they want to stay the course with Hendrick, I think that Bowman's going to be part of that package.
Right, no doubt.
So,
who do you think is the odds-on favorite to win at Daytona this year?
A Ford, Denny Hamlin, or the Ford field, right? Well, I mean, they work so well together, and Denny is the winningest active Daytona 500 winner. But it's I don't know. There's power in numbers. Chevrolet has pulled up the numbers. It's just that is something that's really, really hard to predict. Usually you get in there and you watch the practices, right? I want to see what drafting looks like since they've made changes to these cars. What's that dynamic? Because usually if there is a change in drafting style, Hamlin figures it out first. I saw it at Daytona. I saw it at Talladega. Right. And then everybody follows. So, do we see a really good story, I think, without sounding, like a homer, would be to see Blaney win. Blaney needs to win. Blaney went a whole season without winning. He has the opportunity to be one of the most popular drivers on the tour. But he has to win more. And to stay at Team Penske, he has to win more. I mean, Roger's extremely fond of Ryan. I mean, when he talks about him, he beams. But Roger likes winners, and we haven't seen that out of Blaney. We did not see that out of Blaney last year. And do I think he could have given Logano a run for the money at Phoenix? Absolutely. But he knew his position, and he played his part. But if he kicks off the season with a win at Daytona, I think that's the spark that they need to turn the 12 team around.
Yeah, Blaney's last positive memory is holding up that window net to win that All-Star race in Texas last year. That was it.
Well, but he didn't look happy at Phoenix. He didn't sound happy after, the Phoenix race either. So I'm kind of, curious to see what transpires there with Blaney in 2023.
Hey, what do you think about Tony Stewart? I'm so done with NASCAR, back in the booth with Fox, first two events of the year. Are you surprised about that?
Money cures all ills, right? I mean, you wave money and all of a sudden it's happy, happy, joy, joy again. And I mean, you guys remember Cale Yarborough for years. Cale didn't show up somewhere unless he got paid an appearance fee. And I think that, Tony's time's worth something, and he spread very thin between the NHRA, the World of Outlaws, and NASCAR. So I think that if you want Tony, you pay for Tony, and clearly Fox is anteed up.
How are we going to see Kurt Busch in the booth this year? I think he does a terrific job whenever he does that.
I do too, but I think everybody's keeping the seat warm for Kevin Harvick at Fox. I would love to see Kurt in there full time. I'm kind of, disappointed that they didn't give him a deal. Honestly, I mean, it's, I think he brings a lot to the table. There are places that they could absolutely positively put him. And, I really think that they should look into that. He's also working, he went to Phoenix, and was working with Christopher Bell. So I think Toyota is using him as a driver development coach. He spends a lot of time at the TPC, which is the Toyota Performance Center. They just opened up a new building in Mooresville, not too far from Kurt's house. He's expected to go to Toyota headquarters in Japan in, I want to say, June maybe, because we asked if he was going to be around when the Cardinals play the Cubs in London, because I love going to Cubs games with Card. He's big fun. But he said he didn't know because he was coming back from Japan the first night. I think it's the first night of the ball game. So, or the series rather. And so, to me, it would, I don't know. I so want to see him come back. He, unfortunately, Kurt was collateral damage in developing this new car. And I'm just, I'm hoping that Bowman's 100% this year. I'm hoping Kurt can at least get to the point where maybe if he wants to do a one-off or such, he can. I thought he would have been better by now, and it's, just kind of heartbreaking that, he's in the position that he is.
All right, before we let you go, I got to ask you the question. Who wins the Super Bowl, the Chiefs or the Eagles?
Oh, I've got to go with Mahomes. I mean, since that is Missouri's team now.
Right. Yeah, no doubt.
I got to ask you something. Did I miss because I had a laugh at Claire McCaskill kind of gigging Josh Hawley because he had a bet with whoever the Chiefs were playing last week. Who I don't know if it was a fellow senator or what, but he said, yeah, if you win, I'll send you Joe's barbecue. And Claire sent him a tweet and says, buddy, Joe's is in Kansas.
Yes, they are. I saw that too.
Yep, they're on the Kansas side. Right.
Well, they're still in Chiefs Nation, though.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
all right, Lee. Well, thanks for joining us on the show today. We sure appreciate you.
Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs. All right. There you have it. Lee
Thanks,
Spencer
Lee.
joining us here. You can find all of her work on the Racing Boys Scoop page, and she does a great job over there. So she's got a lot of great stories over there. So get over there and check it out. All you have to do is go to the homepage of racingboys.com, click on the Scoop page, and you'll find all of Lee Spencer's work over there.
Hey, they're giving away the Corvette again this year at the Hall of Fame. 2023 Z06 Corvette with a Z07 Performance Package in the pearl white metallic tri-coat color, along with $25,000 cash. And so jump in on that. You've got till August to get in on the contest. We're going to draw for it on August the 19th. And this is going to be the best Corvette they've had yet, Scott. This thing is a real race car on the street. And you can win that Corvette this year by getting in on it. And so go to the website, the WinAZ06Corvette.com, and get signed up today. It all goes to a great cause of the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame, and they're going to have the tribute to Williams Grove Speedway this year at the Hall of Fame, so can't wait to see that. So check out, the museum is open every day at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame.
That's got the Z07 Performance Package on it, by the way, and it makes 760 horsepower. It's a 5.5-liter motor, and that thing goes from 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds. It is a awesome car. Nothing more like a race car on the street than this Corvette that they're giving away next year. And again, they're going to give that away on August 19th, right, Kurt?
That's it. So I can't wait to see this thing. I'm not sure they've taken delivery of this thing yet, but I know it was still in production the last we checked. But it'll be up there in the front window of the Hall of Fame here, if not there already, very soon. And certainly by when the race season opens up in April, be able to see. I can't wait to lay eyes on it.
No, I can't either. I can't wait to buy some raffle tickets for it.
Absolutely. So anyway, just check it on out. It's a great cause for the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum, and Bob Baker up there and all the folks up there have done a great job. The Brian Clausen Sweet Tower, I'm told, is paid off now. And so what other kind of expansion is going to be up the Hall of Fame? I think there's going to be more expansion up there one day, don't you think, Scott? Probably.
Oh, I'm sure. Listen, all the proceeds from this Corvette, every penny of it goes towards the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. They're open 7 days a week. They're only closed on major holidays. So get up there and see them. Again, open 7 days a week. So get up there, check out the Williams Grove display they're going to have there this year. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait to see that.
Hey, Scott, they did have some sprint car races down in Florida last night. The USCS was at Hendry County Motorsports Park in Clewiston, Florida. Mark Smith won the feature event last night. He's a Pennsylvania guy. Beat Paulie Colagiovanni and Davey Franek. Those three guys in the top three down there at Clewiston, Florida last night. So I assume they'll be racing tonight. I'm not sure about that. But they did get some wing sprint car racing in. They had these same guys at Volusia Speedway Park last weekend. And Tyler Clem won on Saturday night after Ryan Timms won on Friday night down there. And the USCS sprint cars and the King of 360 sprints will be at East Bay Raceway Park on the 16th, 17th, and 18th of this month.
Sounds like a good time.
You got anything else, my friend?
That's it, Kirk. Man, we had a good show today. Again, if you want to listen to the entire Logan Seavey interview, you can do that. You can go to our homepage on racingboys.com and you can click on the Mostly Motorsports banner, and it will take you to that interview. Is about 20 minutes long.
It's actually, it's
so you know, we tore it down to about 6 minutes, right, Todd?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was about a 9-minute interview you heard, and it's about a 26-minute, almost 30 minutes. We almost had him for a full 30 minutes on there. He talks a whole lot about his team down there at the Chili Bowl and whatnot. But yeah, I've also linked every one of our episodes in the comment section, so you can just go back in the comment section and click that link, and that'll take you to all of them. And then I've also, if you go back a little farther, you can actually find the Logan Seavey interview in the comment section as well. So they're right there, easy. And this stream will stay up, so you can always go back and pull up that if you're having a problem finding that.
Can't wait to hear from Danny the Dude on Monday.
I appreciate you doing all.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, Danny's going to
appreciate Todd doing all the.
Sorry about that.
I want to say thanks to Todd for doing all the work on that stuff too.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, we've got getting a lot of downloads from our new series on Mondays, and it's a 2-hour. You know, whereas before last year, we just kind of did an hour or an hour and a half or whatever. You know, just kind of whatever we did. But now we're at almost a full 2 hours on this thing, and we're going to be having some really good guests this year. We've already started, but racing season hasn't even started really yet. So, it's going to be a really good season this year with able to get a lot more in-depth interviews on Mondays, and Rod End Supply's taking care of us on that. It's going to be a great year.
And if you're in the St. Louis area tonight, check out Winona. The Jets concert. They're going to be in St. Louis tonight. Last night.
How was that last night, Kirk?
Deidre was down there with your next door neighbor, and we met up with her and your next door neighbor last night. Between the two shows, Martina McBride and Winona and Kelsey Ballerini. Is that her name?
I think that sounds right.
She did a great job. That was an awesome concert last night.
I saw a lot of people posting video last night from the concert.
So anyway, if you're in the St. Louis area, check it out.
Very good.
All right, wrap it up, Kirk.
That is it for this Saturday. We're going to be here Monday, 12 noon live on Facebook Live and YouTube for Mostly Motorsport. Danny the Dude Lasowski. Can't wait for that interview. So join us then. We'll be here next Saturday morning as well, as usual, from 8 until 10 for Todd Surprise, my partner Scott Traylor. I'm Kirk Elliott. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great rest of the weekend. We'll see you next on Monday.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.